Thomas here of Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today we're doing something a bit different. I've never technically done this on this channel before. The prop that you saw at the beginning, I didn't actually make the build itself. I did the finishing on it. I was thumbing through Instagram and one of the guys that I follow by the name of PR Props put out this skull and it just spoke to me. Not literally spoke to me. I thought it looked cool. It was a skull that was kind of mashed with a video game controller. And I thought it was a pretty cool build. So I looked on his Etsy shop and contacted him and asked him, hey, could I buy this prop and make a video of me finishing it and put it out here for you guys to see? So I will link PR Props social media stuff down in the description below. Definitely give him out a check and see what he has to offer. He's a very talented guy. He does a lot of sculpting and casting. So I purchased one of these skulls and received it in the mail, and today we're gonna finish it. I'm kind of gonna go for a statue-esque type build, so I'm gonna build a stand for it, add some wiring, add some lighting, do a spray paint technique on it, and put some dirt and grime on it. So today, we are building a prop that I bought from Etsy. Let's get to building. Got my package in the mail and I was super excited to open it, but I had to wait to do it on camera. If you have never been on Etsy before, you should definitely check it out. Loads of creative people trying to share their skills with the world. If you don't want a finished prop, you can search for castings like I did and customize it yourself to fit your preferences. Since it's an Etsy buy, I figured why not make the facts about Etsy for this build. I had a broken PS4 controller, not because I rage hit it onto a wall or anything, for just such an occasion. So after searching for the right sized bit, I broke it down and pulled off the parts I wanted to use. I also cut off the border around the D-pad, and I'm going to add this to the build here in a minute. If I was better with electronics, I think it would have been super cool to make this a functioning controller. To add my buttons and toggles, I drilled out holes for everything to be slotted from the inside. Wear a respirator while sanding, that dust kicks up into your face and you'll be coughing up white junk for days. To add the D-pad to the location with the hole, I'm going to use some super glue and glue it into place. Then make a mixture of baby powder and super glue as a filler. Think of it as kind of a cheap, easy Bondo that dries super fast and is literally rock hard. I cake it on pretty thick, then sand it back smooth so it blends in with the rest of the body. After paint, you won't be able to see a difference. The stand is pretty simple. I just cut out a block of scrap wood from a home repair and drilled a 1-inch hole in it, then inserted the piece of PVC. I tapped it on the ground so I didn't punch through the glass top on my drafting table. Then I covered it and the skull with a black base coat. Sorry about the autofocus, it was back pretty far and zoomed in so I didn't get paint on my camera. I have made several spray painting videos on canvases and thought about doing a similar technique on this skull. You see me try it several different ways until I get the effect that I like. The great thing about spray paint is it dries quick and you can just go over it if you don't like the way it looks. I wasn't letting the paint dry long enough to do the effect that I was intending to do, so I basically took the opposite approach. Instead of trying to pull off the paint, I just sprayed black paint onto the plastic bag and sponged on the texture. Then I faded dark on the bottom and light on the top to blend it all together. Once it dried, then I had the task of trying to fit my ginormous hands into a small hole in the bottom to plug the buttons in. Eventually I got some pliers and was able to reach the spots that way. To keep the stuff in place, I backfilled it with some hot glue and then laid down some EVA foam as a liner. For my eyes, I found some yellow glass pebbles that I liked. To highlight all the details and make all my buttons stand out, I did my usual acrylic washes, then I went back and hand painted parts to stand out, like his oversized teeth and the bumper buttons.
I wanted to make it look like a skull had been ripped off a robot, exposing conduits and wires and stuff, so I dug down in my random wire and tubing bin and just started mix-mashing things together in no particular order. I also wanted a light element to the stand, so I wrapped a USB color-controlled fairy light I found on Amazon. I'll link it on my affiliates page down in the description below. Then to finish it all up, I glued wires to a strip of EVA foam and glued it on the top of the pipe. Then I glued the last lights on the fairy light behind the two glass eyes and stuffed the head on top of the pole and called it done.
And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I really like how it turned out. This is not going to be something that's for sale. This is something that I bought that I really wanted. I thought it looked cool, and I really enjoyed putting the finishing touches on it, putting my own spin on his build, and tweaking it just a little bit. I didn't have to do much finishing work at all as far as sanding or anything. It was a really clean cast. There wasn't a lot of holes or anything that you typically see flashing, any of that stuff. So definitely, if you're looking for unique builds like this, go on Etsy, look for builders who are making things and support them by buying something of theirs. It does make a difference. I also sell stuff on Etsy. All the things you see me build on my channel pretty much get sold on Etsy. I've sold over 125 items on Etsy, and it is pretty much the sole reason that I can still put out videos, because without that money I wouldn't be able to afford continuing to make things twice a week for the past 2.5 years. So thanks again to PR Props for allowing me to make this video and use his beautiful casting here. Maybe you will try and make one yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to make a super creepy skeleton / controller head that will sit on my mantle and stare at you just like that. Maybe you'll get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. It's like he's looking into your soul. Careful. He might bite you.